bought all the ingredients, and I'm not a vegetarian, and I think cows are cute, I like them, but I also like to eat them. So now we have the two things in comparison. So here, this is the Beyond Meat. So this is the burger that is supposed to taste like meat. I know there's also the Impossible Burger, which you can't really buy in stores. So they're high in protein, so that's on the front. Interesting is that they're soy free. So that's kind of surprising to me. And they were like quite expensive. So we're in New York, so it's like $6 for the two patties. That's kind of the price you would pay for a normal beef patty, I would say. I don't know if this sharpens, but yeah, there's a lot of ingredients. Main ingredients is water. And then pea protein isolate. Delicious. Anyway, so this is supposed to be the future of the protein. So we're gonna grill these. And then we have a direct comparison to some other burgers. So this is the second one. And so this is something that my friend brought over on the weekend. So I have two left. So these were also bought at the same store. And so these were $17 for 4 patties. So these were a little bit more expensive, but they're also larger. So these, there we go. They look a bit weird. There is some cheese in there. I can see some bacon. So I had this one before, so this was pretty tasty, and it gets very crunchy. So it will be interesting to see them in a comparison. All right, so I unpacked the burgers. So, this is the classic thing that we're gonna cook. And as I said, there's a little bit of cheese in here. And so if we have a close look on these burgers, they look gross, right? So I don't know if you can see this, but it looks a little bit like somebody ground up liver. And especially when you're vegan, this is probably really unappetizing. So for me, it's not like that super scary. I like liver, so I don't really care. But it looks kind of disgusting. It's my first impression. And the smell is funky. Hard to describe. It's a little bit, like it smells artificial. But it's a very unique smell, and it's strange. Like the meat patty, smells like meat, so it's a very different smell, right? So they're not the same thing, at least at this stage, right? So the whole idea is to put them on the grill, and then we'll see what happens, right? So what I really hope is that these burgers taste comparable to the normal burger. And so the main reason is that the impact of this is potentially huge, right? So if this is a real substitute to a good burger, then that can save a lot of resources. And so this is always good, right? But so, like I'm skeptical because, I like burgers. And I expect this to be somewhat weird in the terms of the texture, especially like when you grill it, it probably won't form like a crunchy outside. And I'm also a bit worried about the general consistency. So I suspect this to be kind of soft and like, it's hard to say at this stage. So we'll see how that goes. And then I'll just make a really simple burger. So I have like just some normal buns, a little bit of onion, way too much salad, some tomato, and then just some sauce, and that's gonna be it. So I'm gonna put them on the grill outside. I'm pretty hungry, so I'll make 2 of the Beyond Burgers because they're smaller, and I'm, as I said, hungry. And then I have as a comparison this large one. So to be fair, I'm gonna eat these ones first. This one probably needs to cook longer anyway because it's much thicker. So, and then we'll discuss what I think about it. I really want them to be good, but I'm somewhat skeptical. So we'll see. Hello, New York. All right. So here's the grill. So it's just a normal small gas grill, and I heated it up quite a bit, and it might still be a bit dirty, so I'm gonna clean this off. So this should be hot, and that's what I want. I don't expect burgers to need to cook that long. So now that we have this clean, more or less, I can put the burgers on. All right, so here we go. I think I can just flop them on like this. Yep, that worked. Number one. And the second one, ooh, it's kind of dangerous. All right, there we go. So they're on the fire, and well, I don't know. We'll see how long it takes. I'll check on them in like 2 minutes or so.
A few moments later.
All right, so let's have a look if we want to flip them around. The heat was pretty high. So I don't know if you can see this. It looks very glistening, so there seems to be a lot of oil in here. Yeah, so they separate nicely, so I thought they would give me some trouble, but they're not sticky. Okay, so this looks very nice. I'm surprised. It looks like a burger. So I'm excited. Let's close this because this will extinguish the flames. Otherwise they burn. Okay, so far I'm kind of surprised. When I turned them around the first time, they actually looked like food. So that's a big plus. It looked like they built a crust. So this is something I was actually really surprised about. And they were not sticky, so they weren't falling apart or anything. So the consistency of the patty itself seemed to be pretty good. So let's hope for the best. All right, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of oil to the buns. Probably not ideal, but I still want to do it a little bit. Oh, that's way too much. And they look like they're whole wheat buns, but they're not. That's the problem when you buy in like stores that are organic. Who makes buns that are whole wheat? That's just gross. All right, so the heat in this thing is pretty high. As you can see, we're like talking about like 450 Fahrenheit. So I think these buns will be done. So I'll just add the bread and give it a quick toast. So we try to make them as good as possible. So buns don't need a lot of time because they burn really quickly. So let's see. So I kind of want to take the meat off now. Kind of nervous that I'm overcooking them. Yeah. So this was a little bit more sticky than the first time. Okay, so this, yeah, it looked nicer on the first side. It's a little bit dark, but it's not burned or anything, so it should be okay. So these buns, the buns, see how quickly they go. But that's fine. We're good. Here are the buns. All right. I keep the grill on because I'm gonna put the other meat on in a second. Actually, let's turn it off. It was so quick. All right, so here we go. So now it's time to build a burger. So we'll be back in a second. All right, let's be quick about it. I just add a little bit of mayonnaise. I know that for some people this is like a big sacrilege. I like it. And then some ketchup on the top. This is gonna be liquid, isn't it? Okay, some ketchup. Awesome. And do we have some mustard in here? Sounds weird. Oh God. Okay, I like just make a thin layer so the bread is nice and crusty. Ketchup, I don't need that much ketchup, but just a little bit. Okay, so because I do want to taste the meat, right? This is the main idea. So in general, people say that the salad is used to protect the bun from the juices from the meat. So I honestly don't know if this has any juice. So this, I don't know if you can hear this. There is a crust. So we'll see. It's maybe a little bit charred, but it's not bad. So on close inspection, you know, it's not the nicest burger, but what can you do, you know? So we add like a tomato, some onions. Okay, I think this qualifies as a burger. Maybe a little bit more ketchup. I don't know how dry these buns will be. Okay, great. Okay, so now we stack them up. All right, and so. And these are our burgers. Are they beyond what we ate before? I don't know. We'll find out. The moment of truth. So it is a nice looking burger like this, right? I mean, we did a pretty good job putting it together. So I don't know. What do you think? Will I like it? You will find out. Okay, so this is what it looks like from the inside. Okay, so there is no juices or anything running. So I've seen videos about Impossible Burger where you actually have like something bloody running. So here, this is not really the case. The taste weirdly is reminding me of peas. I'm not sure I'm thinking this now because I read it on the package, but it has this nutty flavor and it doesn't really taste like meat. Okay, so I think in general in the preparation maybe the burger was slightly burnt and the flavor, because it is already kind of nutty, it gets bitter. You know, if you char meat, it doesn't really get bitter, it just builds more complex flavors. So you actually want that char to some degree on your meat, right? You don't want to be a piece of brick, but like a brick of coal. But so here, like the charring on this piece is actually not that enjoyable. All right, so first break, I had one of the two burgers, so there's still one left. I ate it pretty quickly. So to be fair, the bun I don't really like. I think it is all wheat or something. I didn't even think to look after that. Like, I just assumed it's a normal bun. So my opinion of that burger is a little bit biased because of that. But we do still have the direct comparison to this one, and this will go on the same bun. So there will be some perspective. So to recap, like my experience from this first burger was that it is not tasting like a normal burger, at least not how I remember a burger. And I had one 2 days ago. So it always makes me wonder, products like this, They're obviously made for, you know, people that don't want to eat meat, and there's many good reasons why people don't want to eat meat. Be it that they, you know, care for animals, or they want to have a lower footprint on the environment. So, you know, these are really legitimate reasons. But it always makes me wonder if people that are vegetarians or vegan actually want products that resemble meat products. Maybe. So for that type of person, maybe this is a good product, because, you know, they can have a burger and, you know, enjoy what comes with it. Maybe this is the experience. Eating a burger is, you know, something that they want without the meat. But yeah, so for somebody who eats meat, it's not really a good substitute, in my opinion. So like, I probably will prefer this other meat burger, but so I'm still gonna eat this one, and then I'm already gonna be kind of full, and then there's this gigantic other burger. So we'll see. Now the moment of truth. We have this big burger that's made of, you know, the non-Beyond meat. So it's just a normal burger. I'll just grab it with my hand. I'll wash it, don't worry. And let's put it right here. And let's wait and see what happens. So it's already sizzling, that's good. So this probably takes a little bit longer than the Impossible Burger, because, or the Beyond Burger, because this is probably 3 times the size. So yeah, we'll come back in a couple of minutes, turn it around, and have a first look at the sear. So I know these are getting very crunchy, so I'm excited. We'll see.
A few moments later.
Okay, so this grill is pretty hot, so we're gonna check on the burger. Yeah, it's a bit too early, I can tell. Yeah, this needs a little bit more time. This is much thicker than the other one.
A few moments later.
Alright, so now it's definitely time to turn this around. So we go under here. Okay, I got it. And okay, so it's kind of interesting. Before we had these big flames, so this is seeming really losing less fat than the other burger. So it's surprising that this is leaner than the thing that we had before. Okay, so here we go. Time to get this thing off. Okay, that looks nice. Turn off the flame. Okay, so here's our burger. It looks kind of greasy. We'll see how it tastes. So this is the burger now, and so it is greasy. I remember there was this cheese in there, so that makes that whole thing a little bit greasy, I guess. Can see there's some red juices, so I hope it's not completely cooked through. We'll find out. But so this was obviously something that was missing from the other burgers. So these were like not juicy. They had a good consistency, but nearly like too firm, I would say. I'm just toasting the buns. So once the buns are done, we can assemble the burger. We have a lettuce. So the lettuce protects the bun from getting soaked in the juices. And so, you know, the burgers we had before, these Beyond Burgers, they were not that juicy, so they wouldn't even have needed this necessarily. Let me change my mind. So we'll add some of this. Okay. And then we add some ketchup. This is always... I feel like these bottles are always like this. They're full for like once, and then you have to just squeeze them like that forever. All right. So we just spread this out a bit. So this is a bit more generous than before, I admit. But also the meat is much bigger than before, so we have to compensate. Okay, so we'll add this back. Excellent. I'll grab my burger. Ooh, juicy. Yeah. Okay. Tomato. I mean, you can already tell that the burger is like a lot bigger. So I need more of everything. Oh, this works. This is nice. And there goes this. So there we go. So this is our burger, fully assembled. And let's go to the taste test, the important part. Yeah. So now we have this burger here. You know, we had the other burgers as a comparison, and they were obviously a lot smaller. But so one thing, like when I look at this, is actually that this will be kind of difficult to eat. So the other ones had like a more reasonable size, and obviously like a burger like this, you can obviously make yourself. You can make it in the size you want. So this is not really a factor that we're like calculating in right now. Okay, so we'll see how this one is. So this is the burger. Yeah, and so this is exactly what was missing in the other burger. So you can kind of see the red and the juices. There is actually a lot more juiciness in this compared to the Beyond Burger. And also the grease that comes from this. It's, you know, obviously animal fat, so there's cheese in there, but also the fat from the beef gives it, to me, a much nicer flavor. The charring on the outside produces like a more complex flavor. And with the Beyond Burger, that, as I said, this charring produced bitter off taste. Rather than adding complexity, it was more unpleasant than anything. So these are probably easier to grill compared to the other burgers. I think with these other burgers, you have to be a little bit more careful and make sure that they're not too dark. Okay, so this is a lot of food. But I'm gonna try to do that right. So here we are at the end. Yeah, so I finished the burger. It was massive. So, you know, like an obvious difference between the two burgers was how juicy they were. The Beyond Burger was kind of dry. Maybe I overcooked it, but they were really not that long on the grill. And the other one that had the cheese in it, it was made of beef. You know, was delicious and like, but very oily. So I actually had to wash my hands afterwards. It's kind of messy. It was kind of drippy. But overall, the flavor was, you know, what I would expect from a normal beef burger. So, okay, so this is kind of this what we tried. This is the Beyond Meat burger, which I got at Whole Foods. And as I said before, it was I think $5.99. That is a New York City price, so that's kind of comparable to what you pay for normal beef patties. So usually when I make burgers, I have friends over. There's usually a lot of them at the same time, so I usually just make them from scratch. Then it's a lot cheaper because then I pay like $6 for like a pound of beef. But yeah, so so what is the direct comparison? So I think the important question is, would I serve this to my friends, right? Would I go out of my way, buy these and serve them to my friends if they're vegetarians, right? If they're vegetarians, I would. I think it's a nice option to have something that lets vegetarians join into having the fun of eating a burger and assembling your burger. That experience is something that you would have with this kind of product. I would not serve it to my friends that eat beef because it, in my opinion, is not as good. And yeah, so I mean, personally, I would not eat it. It was absolutely edible, so there was nothing offensive about it, right? So there was no weird flavor. The only thing that was weird was the smell. But to be fair, also, if you think about raw beef can also smell kind of weird for some people, so I wouldn't, hold that against them. In general, it's an interesting product, and I know now there's a lot of chains starting to sell these Impossible Burgers. And it would be interesting to try this other brand and see if they have an edge over this one. But yeah, from a meat eater perspective, this is not, replacing meat as we know it. And I really have to say that I want this product to be as good or better than normal beef, because eating beef is really bad for the environment, and not only does it use tremendous amounts of water and tremendous amounts of food production for the cows, that if a vegetarian has maybe like only 10% of the footprint of somebody who eats beef, right? Because the cow needs to grow and there's so much loss that this is quite inefficient. But I think it's probably more reasonable to maybe cut down a little bit on the meat consumption itself, but then enjoy the meat that you eat and get reasonable quality of meat. And I think that will work better for most people rather than switching over to products that mimic real meat but are not, right? So yeah, so as a final statement, I would say that whole wheat buns are disgusting, and I cannot recommend anybody to get whole wheat buns ever. If you do that right, then it's not as bad getting the Beyond Meat burgers over the normal burgers. But so I'm not 100% convinced of this. But it's a great move of technology. And again, this is like high-tech stuff, right? There's a lot of engineering that goes into making these products, because you have to put very specific proteins into these products to make them meat-like. And they're not quite there yet, but I think in the future they might actually get there. And I can't wait to do the next video about Beyond Steaks. I hope I'm not actually, I was lying. probably don't want to do the Beyond Steak video. But so this was a fun video to make. It was very fulfilling, I would say. And I hope, you know, I gave you an idea. I would recommend people to just go out and get one of these, or, you know, go to White Castle. I think they're actually selling Impossible Burgers on their like tiny square buns. You know, and experience it yourself. It's kind of interesting. Yeah. So yeah, I hope you liked it, and see you at the next food video, the Beyond Steak.